The name of that song is Misulu, and it was written, performed, and recorded by my special guest, Sona Jobarteh. Sona is performing Friday at 7:30 p.m. at McIntyre Hall on the campus of Skagit Valley College in Mount Vernon. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. There is a pre-concert talk at 6:45 p.m. and the concert is at 7:30 p.m. Sona, welcome to our program today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. I was so excited when your promoters got in touch with me. We had an opportunity to take a listen to some of your music and look at your website, see what you're doing on this third U.S. tour that you're doing, which started on March 20th and has had many sold out shows. So we're excited to talk to you about your music and about your show, your tour, and also some of the other things that you do here. I know that you have a brand new album. It's called Badnya Kumo. It was released on September the 23rd, 2022, and has been getting accolades from all of the great music rating services. Tell me a little bit about your third tour, what you're doing and where you're going.
Okay, yeah, maybe the where I'm going is the bit I'm taking a day at a time.
That's
I go
great.
where the bus and the plane takes me, but yeah, I know it's just the way I do things. But I mean, this is the third sort of significant US tour that I've had, and it's the first one that I've had since the release of this album. So it's very meaningful for me because there's a real spirit, I think, as well of the Americas in a number of the songs, and I've collaborated with a couple of American artists as well on this album. So it was quite a big thing for me to be able to now perform it here in the States. And I'm really enjoying it so far. It's been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the tour.
You've got a breakneck schedule, I notice here, and a lot of sold out shows, which is just wonderful. There's more to you than just singing, songwriting, performing. You are the founding director of the Gambia Academy, which is your home country. You have dedicated your life to the educational reform for Africans. And can you talk a little bit about your foundation?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is something I set up 7 years ago. It was really my dream from many years ago. Actually, during time I was at university, this began to formulate in my mind was the need for in institutions in Africa that really reflected the identity of Africans. There's been a lot of moves to improve education, to bring forth more schools and more literacy and so on, but not so much attention brought to the actual content of the education that our students receive. And I feel that that has a very, very strong impact on the mentality of young Africans, and also has a direct impact on the trajectory of young Africans on the continent and their aims and objectives in life, and the degree to which that they are also actually able to succeed within their country. So for me, this was an institution which I opened to be able to prove, I think, set a template, develop a curriculum that brought the identity, culture, languages, history, and traditions to the very center of students' academic education, and be able to evaluate exactly what difference that makes on the mindset of people. Extremely proud 7 years later now that that answer is starting to be demonstrated in the actual existence of the students that I have who have been there from the beginning. They're starting to demonstrate exactly what happens when those things change.
And you are also an activist. I mean, you are getting out, making sure that this message gets out, not just to the people in your country, but also all of Africa.
Correct. This is something which I'm developing as a template model to be scaled up and implemented in different countries. It's a huge, huge undertaking. This isn't something that I'm taking lightly. It's a very huge undertaking, which requires a huge amount of funding and expertise as well. But I do believe that unless we start that process somewhere, this is something that will continue to be an ongoing goal. And so this is something that I really want to make sure that I can start initiating within my lifetime and see it flourish to as much as I can whilst I'm still here.
My special guest today is Sona Jobarteh. She will be performing at McIntyre Hall on Friday evening. The doors open at 6:30 p.m. with a pre-concert talk at 6:45 p.m. with a concert at 7:30 p.m. She's on her third U.S. tour with many sold-out shows in 18 cities, which started on March the 20th. Sona, I'd be amiss if I didn't ask you to talk a little bit about the instrument that you have become a virtuoso on called the kora. I understand you're the not only the first woman that has mastered this instrument, but the only woman that has done that in a tradition that goes back over 7 centuries.
Yeah, this is a very ancient tradition. It has always been a male tradition, the instrumental side of the tradition. Women singers take part in the vocal side of the tradition. So it's a big deal, although it's something that I actually always used to resent very much because I always just wanted to study the instrument as a kora player, not as a woman or a female or anything different than any other person in my family. But this is something that I've grown to embrace hugely as I've grown, and especially now that I'm running an academy and I can see the impact that that actually is starting to have on the next generation of young females growing up in the country, not just from griot families, but from non-griot families as well, being inspired to take up this instrument and do many other things actually as well, where they may feel culturally that that is not the norm. So I've seen that that creates a huge impact, and more than being able to empower through speech, it's a huge thing to be able to lead by example. So this is something that I've grown to embrace fully now as the person that I am today and what that represents.
That's wonderful. Your new album, Badnya Kumo, is available now. Let's point out, too, that it is recorded in your home language of Mandika, features several guest artists that you have contributed to this wonderful collection of 12 songs. I'm sure that was a lot of fun working with those folks as well.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't put the word fun with this album. It was like blood, sweat, and tears, to be honest. I really fought hard for this, and it was a hell of a lot of work and difficult as well because certain points of the recording fell across a period in time when the whole world was, closed down. So I had to really work so hard to make things work. I'm very blessed that obviously I was able to do this myself. I didn't have to rely on many people at all to produce this album, to record it, and to bring it to the final stages. Doing things remotely was something that I had to do with the artists I collaborated with. With most of them, I was not with them physically. I was setting up those sessions and recording them remotely. So it was hugely challenging, but I was really just determined to get to the finish line. It seemed like it was never going to come. So I'm still actually not quite but in belief that I've actually finished it. So it's amazing. And I just feel so happy that it's done.
It's an amazing collaboration and wonderful songs that you put together, Sona. They're quite beautiful. Let's do a second song from the new album. This is titled Ubuntu. I'd like to also ask you, I saw that you had written a song for a movie that is starred in by Irtis Alba. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I was approached by the director of this film to write the theme song to the film. This was following the fact that he was just a personal fan of my music, and he really felt that I would be able to write a song that could capture the African identity, because the film is set in Southern Africa, but at the same time would be able to be relatable to people who've been watching this movie who had no sort of, maybe a lot of people may have no prior knowledge in African music, and he wanted a song that would be able to be relatable to as many people around the world as possible. So a small challenge, right? But
Absolutely.
took this opportunity to really connect with the fact that, the film was set in Southern Africa, and I worked with a South African poet actually to work on the lyrics in Zulu, because I really wanted to sing this in a language that connected to the people of the land to where this film has been filmed. So that was a really beautiful experience for me, and I really enjoyed actually working on that project, although I had to do it in a ridiculously short amount of time. But it was really an amazing experience, and obviously working intensively, but also being able to share and understand and learn a little bit more about that culture, the Zulu identity and traditions and culture, and sort of try to encapsulate, or let's say pay homage to that. I think that's really what I was doing in this song.
Fantastic. By the way, that Irtis Elba film is called Beast. I'm going to be anxious to watch that film and listen to that music.
That song is actually on the album, on the current album. It was
Oh, good.
re-released. Yeah, it was re-released in January. So the one that's now going out and is available and being sold in the States has that song on it.
Perfect. By the way, that new album is called Banya Kumu. That is available at all the outlets I checked this morning. You can also listen to more music on Spotify, on Sona's website. And let's give that website. It is Sona Jobarteh. And let me spell that, please. SONAJOBARTEH.com. Her Facebook.com, Sona Jobarteh. Instagram.com/Sona Jobarteh. And then, of course, you you must watch her YouTube channel, which is just Sona Jobarteh, and watch the beautiful, beautiful video that she has made called Gambia. I watched that, and not only could I not stop my feet from moving, but I just wanted to go home and pack my bags and visit Gambia. It's such a beautiful video, Sona. It's just wonderful. You did such a great job on it. I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate that. Actually, it's great because I'm here today in Seattle, performing here for the next 2 days. This is actually the home of the person that I collaborated with to create that video. I brought him from Seattle to the Gambia to film this video with me, and we co-produced that video together. Amazing filmmaker Jacob Bain from Seattle, and so it's meaningful for me to be back here, because this is really, in some ways, I would say, where it all started.
That's terrific. My special guest today is Sona Jobarteh. Sona, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to take in her concert, which is at McIntyre Hall on Friday evening, with doors opening at 6:30 p.m., a pre-concert talk at 6:45 p.m., and the concert itself at 7:30 p.m. Thanks again so much for joining me, Sona.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Let's go out with the third song from this album called Gambia.